Oh Lord, my God, and I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods and forest glades I wander, I hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountains' grandeur, I hear the brook, I feel the gentle breeze. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, oh how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Good morning, everyone. Walter Parks. First thing I'm going to do is take off my jacket. Second thing is to let you know why in the heck am I playing that song. I don't consider that myself too much of a religious man, but that was my father's favorite song. Today is Father's Day, and I'll just throw this over on my Telecaster. All right, and yeah, that was "How Great Thou Art." That's an old Christian hymn, um, and that was my father's favorite song, so I favored him at least, and I don't know what his favorite song was. We didn't really bond too much over music, and that sort of saddened me a little bit. But that was the way it was. You know, some people just grow up and they find a talent. They find a realm that's outside of the one they have at home, and that's what I did. My mother was a musician, in a sense. She had a really interesting instinct with the piano. Hold on just a second. I'm going to turn off my fan over here, and hold on. This is Margot. I don't know if you know how to do that. It involves a pair of pliers. I love fans, but uh, I like the kind of fans who are sitting in seats in the audience, but not. I hate wind blowing on me. But anyway, that was. I hate it when people just throw things out in the modern day. You know, of course, everybody throws things away, and I get it. Nobody's got time to repair things. But this particular box fan was just sitting out front, and it didn't have a knob on it. God forbid it. Somebody go to the hardware store and find a replacement knob. But again, people are too busy. I get it. And that fan worked fine, but I have to turn it on until I get a replacement knob via a pair of pliers. And one of the things I learned from my father is keep things maintained, keep them in repair, don't just throw them out. Even that was, you know, he came up in the age when people did repair things. So he understood that was just a part of culture, and it probably had to do with the war times. And you know, if you can't go to the store and buy a brand new item, then you just keep it repaired. Much the same way they do the cars in Cuba. I don't know if y'all have ever been down there, but I went down there in 2016, and sure enough, they're still keeping those 1950s American cars running, and it's kind of a wonderful thing to see. They're so industrious down there, and there are a lot of things I didn't like about it. By virtue of using 1950s cars, there's lots of pollution in Havana. But on the other hand, when a car breaks down, there's no tow truck that shows up. What happens is a guy with a welding machine shows up, and he if a part is broken, he'll weld it back together. You know, that's just how they do it there. And they might use one of those portable jacks, jack up the car, and just work on it right there where it died in the street. It's an interesting situation. What with what we call an embargo, and what with the Cubans call blockades. How they have survived. I had kind of a nice gentleman's argument with some French guys, and it was one of the first arguments that I'd gotten into. It was a political conversation with some guys in France a couple of years back. We were actually in Mallorca, but we were speaking French, and they were complaining about the United States, the embargo on Cuba, and how we're strangulating those folks. And I said, well, we're not the only country in the world. Why can't they just get their goods from other countries? And they go, that's the thing. You don't understand how the embargo works. They were telling me that the United States will punish economically any country that deals with Cuba. So it's sort of a gangster tactic of look, if you deal with, if I'm just pulling this out of the air, for instance, if Sweden deals with the United States, then I mean, Sweden deals with Cuba, and we don't want Sweden to deal with Cuba. We can steer those world relations by saying, okay, Sweden, you don't get what you want from us. We're not going to buy Volvos from you or something. I mean, I'm just making that up, but that's loosely the way those sorts of embargoes work. But I never knew that. And, it's these are the kinds of things that my father would teach me. He was a very conservative man. I often did not agree with him, but he was an original thinker, and he did not toe the Rush Limbaugh line. He wouldn't have toed the Trump line in the modern day. I, I, I'm, he would have just thought for himself, but he was kind of an old school conservative before it was so popular to be one. And I'd say popular because people wear their politics on their sleeves now, and I mean they wear it on their hats. Anyway, let's not go down that road. Welcome to Hymns and Hollers. This is Walter Parks, and I try to be with you every Sunday. We're going to do one more show this summer. I think we're going to take July off because I've got a lot of touring to do and a concert that we produce on our own, and I need to concentrate on that. We might do a pop-up from New York on, that would be July 5th, I guess it would be. I think whenever it is, maybe July 4th is a Sunday. I can't remember. What is it? What? July 5th is a Sunday. Well, let's just keep looking at my website. We're coming to you via YouTube. Once again, Walter Parks. I'm playing a lot all over the country this summer. Going to the Northwest for my second time. I'm proud about that because I did real well in Portland, and we've got a kind of a prestigious room to play in Seattle this time, one that I played with Richie Havens. And so started with How Great Thou Art, an old Christian hymn that I played at my father's memorial. I had never played it before, and I also took that opportunity to learn some other spirituals and learn some hymns. At the time, I learned, well, I really dug into Amazing Grace in a way that I hadn't before because he liked that one as well. And but I kind of fell in love with some of these hymns, and it's not so much for the music. I mean, honestly, this is a Sunday morning spiritual show, and sometimes I don't even know if I believe in God, so I'm not I don't have any Christian agenda or that sort of thing, but I do believe that there's a power out there, and the power, and I can just hear my conservative friends going, oh, that's easy. That's the easy way out. You believe that there's a power, and you could say the universe. Well, in the words of How Great Thou Art, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Maybe that's the easy way out, but I just have a real hard time with a lot of these concepts of God is in control, God knows everything, God has the plan. I mean, as if there's some guy in a lab coat in Central Command somewhere, and he might have a dashiki on, but it'll be a white dashiki, and he's wearing sandals, and because he's going to be old, and he's going to look like those characters from the Lord of the Rings, and he's going to have all these controls, and he knows everything, and he's a he too, of course, because he. But this is all just stuff that I can't get on board with. But I do believe that, it seems like there's a purpose to everything. There's a purpose to death, and there's a purpose to life. And at the end of the day, I think at the very least what I can go with personally is that I have to have faith that all of this stuff is working in a natural way. I mean, even man-made materials they have to be natural to an extent. They came from the earth. In one sense, I'm looking at parts of plastic moving around, and people can say, well, that's not natural. It's man-made. Well, how did that come about? They came about by oil. And who's to say that all of this stuff is not in the grand design, in the grand scheme? Who's to say that the horrible things that happen to us when we fight each other um, across borders and so on, um, the, who's to say that that's not in the part of the grand design? I don't know. I really don't think that God would want a child to suffer. God would say, "Oh, that's fine. That's fine." No, I don't. I just don't buy it. I think the child suffers because the child suffers, or the young deer that walks out into traffic. I mean, it's the, these things are as probably they just happen, and we deal with them in the moment. And sometimes they're awful, and sometimes they're beautiful, and we just take our beautiful moments and we're grateful for them. And we take our sad moments and we try to endure them and we try to last through them. And that is how we can do something that maybe the animals can't do, is that we can pay gratitude. I strongly believe on this Sunday morning and every Sunday morning that if you feel dark of heart, if you feel that you have done bad deeds, if you feel that you have wronged people in your life, that if there is a God, he or she would want us to not wallow in the sorrow, and want us to spend our Sunday mornings on our knees begging for forgiveness, or in our booths with our priests begging for forgiveness or confessing our sins. Don't spend your time trying to save yourself, in a sense. In my opinion, the best way to do that is to pay it forward. If you feel you have wronged certain people in your life, then find other people to right. And there are plenty of people in need. And who's to say that you can't be that God to them? And some of you may say, well, that's just being an angel when you help somebody out. Well, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's good work. It's against bad work. It's the dark against the light. And we have to choose the light. And I believe that we can choose the light. And I struggle with it so much because being an artist, I just sometimes I want to use the struggle of my life. I have things, my life is pretty good, but there are aspects of struggle with having a career in the arts. And I always want to lean back on those and talk about how hard it is. I don't have time to talk about how hard it is in my psyche. I'm 67 years old. What I have time to do is to get my music and my work out to people, and I have time to try to help other people be inspired in their lives. And so I might have made mistakes in my life, but what I try to do is to keep the guitar in my hand, keep the songs coming, keep the conduit flowing, and try to do the work that I'm best suited to do. I think I don't know if there's a plan. I almost don't believe that there's a plan. I believe that we do what we have to do. If there's a plan, that's what it is. The robin builds the nest because she has to do it, and the male robin will propagate it. I don't know how it works. I know certain species of animals, they're mated and partnered forever. Do they do that because they sit and make a plan and they're so forward thinking? No, they do what they do. The little chicks, once they hatch out of the egg, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever later, they feel this urge to get on the edge of that nest, and they're on the edge of the nest for about a day, wondering what's this world like, and then finally they just take a leap because they do what they do. Dogs do what they do. We do what we do. We find what's natural to us. A good friend, Randy Crafton, who's might as well be. He's a really, really smart man, and he's an engineer, and he runs a studio in Union City called Kaleidoscope. And he's been sort of a colleague and a partner of mine over the years. He said to me, you know, we teach our children in the modern world to follow their hearts and all of that. And, you know, do what you want to do, that kind of thing. He said the other day, I think maybe we should have been teaching our children to do what comes easy to them, do what comes natural to them. And maybe they're one and the same, but I wish my father had said that, you know, speaking of fathers. I wish my father had said, son, what is it that comes easy to you? Focus on that. And I think that's the grand religion. I think that's the grand spirituality. Is what comes easy for us is what is meant to do. If meant to do could be equated with God. If you're talking about the grand scheme and the grand plan, I would take the stand and say that's what this is all about. So you come to me every Sunday morning for a little bit of inspiration, and I like to think I share some answers with you. This is one that I had the honor of having Richie Havens guest on. I don't know if you can see. I want to pull this. Yeah, Mario, you can stay. Everything can stay the same. I'm not going to move the camera, but I want the audience to see my gizmo here. Oh yeah. Y'all see my tape machine there turning? Right there, this guy. I'm going to play the song that was on my CD. This is going to go out to Pastor Kristen Barnard. She's from Stanton, Virginia. She lives in Charleston now. She's teetering health-wise at the moment. She struggles from time to time, but she's doing better, I think. And her partner, David. This one goes out to them. I think I played this at their service at some point. So let me get these heads fit, playing right. Well, that's about right. I could probably play my whole show on that setting because everything's nice and slow. Called Heed the Call. Like something sacred, like something beautiful, like something so divine, so divine. Right in that moment, right when you that it's so divine, so divine. Heeded the calling. You down the road as your confidence grows. Would you say that you made it alone? I think that's a pretty song. I'm glad that one came to me. That was a song that I recorded on my first solo CD. Recorded it at in Union City at Randy Crafton Studio, Kaleidoscope, and so that was a shout out to Kristen Barner. She likes that song, but and she Pastor Barner, excuse me, but it's heed the call. Heed what you feel called to do. Some might say, well, that's what you want to do. What's wrong with just doing what you want to do? What's wrong with doing what your heart tells you to do? I say nothing's wrong with it as long as you we have this concept that any of us can attain anything we put our minds to. And I don't want to disparage that. I hope that industriousness and focus and dreams, they're all well and good, but I think we also are blessed, if you will, with certain gifts. And that is the call that I'm referring to in that song, the gift that you're given. Heed your mission, I think, is made obvious to us from the very, very early years. We just probably can't see it. I couldn't see it exactly too early on. I couldn't even see it when I was getting ready to go into college. I heeded my parents' advice. I didn't heed my call. My call was music, but I heeded the advice of you have to have something to fall back on. So go to college and learn business. And basically what you do when you do that is you bet against yourself. You say, you spend 4 years of your life getting really good at your plan B. And what happens is you get so invested in your plan B, for a lot of people, they just roll with it. They're in that mindset and they think, well, geez, I'm here, I'm on this wheel. I've got this momentum going. I'm going to keep it going. Now I know all these people in this particular industry that I've spent 4 years making a plan B for, so I'm just going to go with that. And plan A never gets revisited. What a shame. The call is not heeded. But it's, some might say, if they know me, well, it's easy for you to say, Walt, you don't have children and everything. And that was basically intentional. I wanted to protect my music, and I didn't think that I could pull it off. I'm speaking personally. I mean, if Margot and I had children, I think it would have been a wonderful thing. But we could have probably, as the old saying goes, you can make things happen if you just put your mind to it. But I'm going to leave it at that. I don't need to talk about those issues anymore. But good to join you. This is Walter Parks' Hymns and Hollers. I try to share some music that has meant something to me throughout the years. I want to talk about another aspect of heeding the call, and I think I want to do this on my Telecaster over there. Let me slip out of the screen and get it just for a second. And again, to drive home the point and celebrate on this day of Father's Day. Let's see, how can I do this without making a pop? I probably can't, so I'm just going to make a pop. This guitar is kind of what we call a parts guitar. It's a Frankencaster, Frankenstein, and I bought the body for this in Jersey City from James Mastro, but I put various parts together to make this thing, and the first order of business is I painted this guitar when to kind of honor my father. Look, check out the way I painted this thing. It's kind of weird looking. It kind of has a Mondrian vibe to it, the way I see it. I call it my Mondrian telly, but really, yeah, isn't that cool? I think it's cool looking. I painted that thinking about my father, and kind of, he was a model railroader, and I used his model railroad paints to paint this guitar. And you really, that's, in the world of luthiers, you don't really, that's not advised, But I started to, I wanted to coat it at one point to keep it from, to keep the colors from wearing off, and I saw that the coating that I put on it was starting to react unstewardly with the little Tester's model railroad paints, and I thought, well, heck, I'm just going to dry it out, and then since I've damaged it, I'm going to hit it with a hot air gun, and make the finish bubble and crack a little bit. And so I had fun stressing it. But I think it's a good looking guitar. It's got an old, it's got a very thick, for those guitar players out there, it feels like a 59 Les Paul. But I want you to look at the insignia on it. I think, let's see, let me get a better view there. See that? There you go. SR. Southern serves the South. Oh, there it is. Southern serves the South. My father loved the Southern Railroad, and rather than turn this into a fake Fender guitar or something, by putting a logo on there that would, as if it had been made in some proper factory, I just put my Southern Railroad logo on there, which is, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's fun. Anyway, heeding the call. My call, I hope y'all find this interesting, but one of my calls was sounds. When I was young, and first falling in love with rock and roll music, it would have been about 1970, 1971, 72. I think 1972, an album came out by a fellow named Robin Trower. It was called Bridge of Sighs. Might have been 73. But my neighbor across the street was he was a stoner, and he just, back then, 16 in the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, pot was around, but it was very illegal at that point. And but some of the kids it found it quite available, especially down in Florida. And so this guy would play Robin Trower's Bridge of Sighs. He'd get stoned every afternoon after school and play Robin Trower's Bridge of Sighs. And I fell in love with the sounds of the music that was blasting across the street from this guy's house. And I was like, the singer of Robin Trower, James Stewart, the way the drums were, I would come to find out that the drummer on that particular record and the two records that came before it, I believe, was kind of a jazz style drummer, and played a jazz drum kit. He was a black man from England, and I loved his feel. And I love Robin Trower's sound. He kind of sounded like Hendrix, but there was something a little bit, I mean this respectfully, a little bit more orderly. It's something a little bit less psychedelic about Robin Trower as compared to Hendrix. He played with that bluesy feel, but it was English, it was not quite as loose and American. But the British so revered American music and American blues that they repackaged the blues and gave it back to America in the form of people like Robin Trower, in the form of Cream and so on. But I love the way Robin Trower's guitar sounded. And we all have stories. A lot of people say, why'd you get into music? Well, I heard the Beatles, and I wanted to be like the Beatles. I thought, well, maybe I could do that. That's not my story. I heard Robin Trower. I came a little late, too late to be exposed and enthralled and impassioned by the Beatles. So Robin Trower and Jimmy Page were doing it for me, not even Hendrix. I heard the sound of Jimmy Page's guitar on Led Zeppelin 4 and those doubled guitars. And I thought that it's not so much that I wanted to be that, but I wanted to figure out what that sound was. And maybe my call should have been engineering, but I asked my mother for a guitar, and then I started doing these kinds of songs. I'm going to set the delay better. That'll probably do. In this place filled with empty space, your love holds the key. Sympathize with me. I need you. Before I lost your touch of life and grace, I knew that your sweet face would always comfort me. I love you. shine for me. I love you. Now I know what it means to have you gone. I'm down on my knees, darling, see by me. I love you. I love that song. To my knowledge, Robin Trower doesn't play it. I don't think he ever played that live. But that's called In This Place, and it was sung beautifully, originally by James Stewart, and he's passed on, gone to the by and by. As so has Reg Isdor, the original drummer on that record. But that's one of those records that I always refer back to, and it was masterfully produced. I think Matthews, Matthew, I can't remember his last name, but he was one of the musicians in Procol Harum, in the group that Trower played in the late '60s. He also played on. What the heck? Maybe I should just play this song. Let me retune this guitar. Well, hold on a second. No, I'm good. He played on this song. Skip a light fandango, turn cartwheels across the floor. I was feeling pretty seasick. The crowd called out for more. The room was humming harder as the ceiling flew away, and I called out for another drink. Waiter brought a tray, and so it was that later, when the miller told his tale, and the villagers first just gently turned a whiter shade of pale. She said there was no reason. The truth is plain to see. But I stumbled through my playing cards. People I just could not let it be. One of the 16 Vestal virgins who were leaving for the coast. And although my eyes were open, they might might just as well be close. And so it was that later, as the miller told his tale, and her face, oh, just ghostly, turned a whiter shade of pale. Oh yeah. Well, we do what we do, no matter what. Gosh, sometimes I see a injured animal or something like that, and they just keep going. You know, they just deal with their circumstances. And I had hand surgery a while back, and it as if that doesn't make my cords and so on difficult enough. I was doing some gardening last weekend, and I got what do you call it? Poison ivy all over my hand, and so now the hand that was in surgery, it's got poison ivy all over it, which I thought I was being really careful. I didn't use gloves for different reasons, but and I wasn't picking poison ivy. I just came upon it accidentally. I know what it looks like, but I can't do my physical therapy now because it's all swollen up, and so I don't know. But I keep going. I do what I have to do, and that's the point of today's sermon. You just trudge on and do what you're naturally meant to do. And what I'm naturally meant to do, apparently, is to play the guitar and sing for people, because it's what's made me happy. In addition, of course, to spending time with my wife throughout my years. And this is, I'll probably one more song. I'm not going to talk too much today, but I just want to keep it short. But I feel like playing kind of a swampy sort of thing. I see my old, one of my Starfires over there calling me. So let me pick that up and see what it's going to give me. Hold on a second, y'all. I want to tell you about what I did since I saw you last. And hold on. Y'all don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. I call these guitars. We've got a new assistant now, and I was explaining to her that these are called roadkills, and she was like, every crazy thing I was saying, she was just like, okay, and she was just very dutifully trying to just put in the card catalog of her mind all my oddities, I think, and that was one of them. Why the heck does this guy call his guitars roadkills? And the reason is, I'm going to tune up and visit with you while I'm tuning up. The reason is because when I got my first roadkill guitar, which I had ordered online, it was a parts guitar, meaning that it just came to me in a bag of parts, and it came to me cheaply as a consequence of that. So I get this clear plastic bag of guitar parts, and I was in a recording studio down in St. Augustine, Florida. We were working on, I think, our second record, which is called Squeal, Swamp Cabbage. And I do hope that y'all pick up some of the Swamp Cabbage stuff because it's really good music. It's good Southern music. It's like electric folk music. But anyway, so I wanted to try this guitar, or a Roadkill, the first Roadkill, and I didn't call it Roadkill at that point. It was just a Guild Starfire from 1967, and I wanted to put it into immediate use. So usually when I'm playing more rock and roll style stuff, I'll just use my treble pickup. Well, just a little guitar talk, y'all. So if there are people out there who don't like this stuff, this is the time to go into the kitchen and pour yourself a strong cup of coffee. And I want it to be strong because weak coffee is just tea. Anyway, I don't use, when I'm playing rock and roll or stuff, swampy, all that swampy stuff you hear me do, I don't use a neck pickup. It's just too much bass in the sound. I don't need it. It fights against the articulation of my right hand. I play a lot of arpeggios. I play an electric guitar almost like a banjo, y'all. And so I don't need this pickup. So I was in a hurry, and I just slapped this pickup in and screwed it in. And again, the guts of this guitar came in a clear plastic bag. I got just the body of the guitar. I didn't even have headstock tuners on it. So I took about 15, 20 minutes and threw some tuners on it, and just threw the guitar together. So I didn't take the time to properly, at that point, it was all, what I got in that plastic bag was the proper parts for a guitar like this, as it would have come from the factory. In other words, there was an extra pickup, there were extra volume knobs, and so on. I just let that stuff hang off the side. All the guts of the guitar were hanging off the side of it. Now, do you know why I call these Roadkills? And I got a really poor picture of that I'll show y'all someday. But anyway, okay, what have I done here? I haven't done this properly, so let me tune it again. I thought during that visit that I was gonna. Good Lord, what was I thinking? I'm gonna play this tape back after we're done and figure out why I left that in E for a tune that needs to be in C. So maybe I just never did it at all. Woo, listen to that. Can y'all hear that low end on that? Take a little of the treble off. But what it doesn't have on it is enough hair. So Margot, listen. I don't need any delay. I don't hear any hair at all on this thing, but surely it must be here. Where's that tremolo coming in from? Faith, because it's Sunday morning. This could be disastrous. Woo! you could hear that. I think what's going on, Margot, is that this vocal mic's picking up this guitar, so it's almost playing it more acoustically than anything. That's why I can't hear the extortion. As a friend of mine when I was a kid used to, he didn't know, he was one of our bandmates' younger brother, and he was just learning to speak words and so on, and he couldn't manage. Somehow he could say extortion, but he couldn't say distortion. So he mixed up the words. So, but I always call it extortion. I'm going to cut off this vocal mic here, see if things change. They changed, but I don't know if they changed for the better. So, hey, this has been fun. I think I'm going to do one more song. I played since I saw y'all last. I played a wonderful new for me festival called the Moccasin Creek Festival. It's in Effingham, Illinois, and the day before I played it, it was a big tornado. So Effingham was in the news, all over the effing papers, and all over the effing internet, and well, now I gotta turn down some showbiz and everything. I really want y'all to go online this morning after you're done giving me a donation, which you can do. Margot you'll either find it on the YouTube channel. She'll post a QR code. It's time for the offering plate. This is when everybody that comes around with when I was a Presbyterian, I guess I still am a Presbyterian, but when I was a kid in the Presbyterian church, they had these wooden plates, and I just thought, well, that's just marvelous. That's just, how do they get the wood to curve like that? And this is what fascinated me when I was a kid. I would look at the little piece of gold metal that was inlaid into the offering plate, and I just would marvel at the craftsmanship of it. And I could tell that the wood had been oiled. It was just glistened. It glistened, and it was those offering plates almost just. They just slid in and out of your hands. It was all so easy and so beautiful, and what more enticing in service to trying to extract money from the public than to utilize craftsmanship. Again, as I say all the time, that's what the arts does. It makes us want to live in a particular town. It makes us want to go home. I feel sorry for people who can't afford to have a little nice art on their walls, and maybe that would be something we could get involved in, is just trying to help people spruce up their homes. And I can hear some of y'all saying, what is this guy? He's so naive. It's like people have other concerns than art on the wall, and I'm aware of that. I'm not in denial about people just struggling to make ends meet. But still, no matter how hard the struggle is, I just look at times of my life when I thought things weren't so good. I would have most of those times were when I was didn't have a partner or something, and I was just struggling to keep my chin up, as they say in England. But I would always come home to an apartment that had, even if it was cheesy art that I bought from the thrift store, or art that I'd found on the side of the road that was in somebody's trash, and I displayed it in some sort of a creative way. It made me feel better about being at home. And my home might not have been that expensive. It might not have been that fancy. But that's what art does. And art makes us want to keep living and stay in the game. And that's what I'm so proud of. But when I was at Moccasin Creek the other day, and I want y'all, after you donate to me, to go online and find Moccasin Creek Festival in Effingham, Illinois. Effingham, probably, Illinois, Southern Illinois. And next year, I want y'all to go to that festival. I have played hundreds, if not thousands, of festivals all over the world. And this is one of the most charming, cute events. And I say that cute not to be diminutive, just to not to be critical. But it was just a quaint festival. It was not huge. There was plenty of shade. It was near a lake, and they had built this area, and it'll hold 500 to 1,000 people. We're not talking about Bonnaroo kind of thing, not talking about Glastonbury level. It was quaint. It was homey. Everybody was welcoming. I came out there. I returned to the festival to get something we had lost, and the next day, a young girl came up to me, and she was young. She was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and she says, "I think you played for us yesterday." And I said, "I sure did. Thank you very much for coming up to me. You don't know me. That makes me feel very good that you noticed and that you were willing to come up and talk to somebody that you didn't even know. That's pretty brave of you, and I think it's good for people to do that. You used your instinct that I was a good guy to talk to, and you came up and you acted on it." And I said, "Do you remember anything I played at the festival yesterday?" And she thought. I looked into her eyes, and her hard drive was turning. She was really working on it, and she said, "You sang about pretty women." And I thought, boy, she's really got my number. I'm thinking about pretty women all the time, but I don't know if I sang about them. And then I thought, bing, she heard me play Necktie Man, And I play this for y'all all the time, but I'm going to end with this one. It wasn't pretty women, it was city women. Don't marry that necktie man. Oh, city woman, don't marry that necktie man. 'Cause if I can't keep you happy, there's some other fellas in the band. City woman, I really want to show you my world. Oh, city woman, come on, let me show you my world. I play from Memphis to Charleston now. Come on, darling, give me a whirl. woman, why you walking away? Oh, city woman, why you walking away? I bought my necktie, darling, at the Salvation Army today. Come on. Hallelujah. Well, at the necktie, the ganja would do that day. The washboard scratch is gonna saturate your lingerie. Come on up to me, darling, put your low end in the old tub bass. Thank you so much for being with me this Sunday morning. This is Father's Day 2026. I hope y'all's fathers were positively a part of making you who you were. I'm celebrating mine today. He wasn't a perfect man by any stretch, but neither am I. And I have learned my negative example in some ways by my father. In other words, I've tried to be the man that he wasn't. But he taught me so much about responsibility, about owning up to my faults, and he taught me about fixing things, and that's what I was singing about in City Women. You know, I know how to fix things, and I keep it moving, traveling all around the world, which is what I do with my music. I hope to see y'all sometime. I'm coming to, for those of you who are just tuning in, gosh, I am playing a lot of places. I'm playing in the New York area around the 4th of July, Jersey City, free concert. I'm playing in Asbury Park, and the last day of June, I'm playing up in Ogunquit, Maine, which is just north of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I think that's July 3rd. And let's see, then I go down to, come back to St. Louis. I'm playing in St. Louis for two or three shows in the middle of July. Then in August, I do a show called Woodstock Variations in St. Louis. I do that every August, and I'm doing it in different cities around the country. Whoever's interested in it. Woodstock Variations, play my favorite songs from Woodstock, and I tribute Richie Havens. And then I'm going to Seattle and Portland, Oregon, and Effingham, Washington. So that's in the latter part of August. I hope to see you along the path. My name's Walter Parks, and I hope my name is going to be Walter Parks for a good many years. And I hope you guys stay on what you're meant to do. Stay the course, heed the call, keep it natural. Pay attention to what comes easy to you. Because I'm a capitalist, and now don't go down this road. You can't peg me as conservative or liberal or any of that. It's impossible. So, but I'm a capitalist, and I believe that you can pay your rent off doing what's natural to you. If you If what's natural to you feels good enough to you and makes you want to stay alive, God, if there is a God, has given you the sense of industriousness and problem solving. You can figure a way to do what's natural to you. And that's what's in your heart. That's what you want to be doing. Let's do it. Hymns and Hollers, Walter Parks. Y'all, see you next week. Bye-bye. Let's do this.